This is a multi-character listener. I hope you enjoy. The characters in this are Hawks, Dabi, Todoroki, and Aizawa. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. You and Hawks have been dating since he was new to the hero scene. He actually saved you from some villains while you were trying to get home, and then he asked you on a date. You have been happily dating, and right now you were feeling kinda sick. Hawks was worried, but he was too busy with hero work to push much thought into it. You decided to go to the hospital to figure out what was wrong. Your doctor had decided to do some tests on you, one of which was a pregnancy test. When she sent you the results, you found that you were pregnant. Hawks wasn't home yet. He had gone to a conference in America that will last 2 weeks. You needed to wait till then to tell him, and also you didn't know how to tell him. He was a pro hero and he had too much on his mind. He was the number 2. He had a lot of work. What if he didn't want a baby? You guys never talked about it. The 2 weeks flew by and Hawks was back. He greeted, "UN, darling, I'm home. Are you okay?" You went and wrapped your arms around his neck, pulling him into a kiss. He kissed back, and after a few minutes, you guys pulled away. You said, "Diego, please don't be angry. Please tell me you won't be angry." He looked at you confused and said, "Yuan, I love you too much to be angry with you. You're the love of my life. Tell me what's wrong." You pulled him into a hug and said in his ear, "I'm pregnant." His eyes widened at what you just said, but he was extremely happy. He always thought about having a family with you. He wrapped his arms around your waist and pulled you in close. He was about to cry, but he didn't want you to know that. He said, "I'm the luckiest man on earth then, because I'm gonna have a kid with the most beautiful woman that has ever existed." He kissed you, and then he suggested, "We should actually start painting the room. Also, we should start getting some clothes for him or her. Also, don't you think green will be a good color or red?" I actually prefer red, but green will be kinda cute. I don't know. What do you think? You look at your boyfriend in shock. He was putting too much into it. You just said, "Hugs is still 9 months left. We have time. You're taking this much better than I thought you would." He looked at you and said, "Why wouldn't I take this good? This is the best news I ever gotten." 9 months later, you guys had your beautiful baby girl, and you couldn't be more happy. You were freaking out. You thought, "How can I be so stupid? How can I be so stupid?" You just found out you were pregnant because you kept showing up and told us to yesterday you took a pregnancy test. You thought she was crazy because she always says irrelevant things like that. But this time, the psycho girl was right. You were pregnant. And your boyfriend Davi and you were not the ideal parents, let's just say. Working for the league was not a good job for a parent to support a kid. Also, you never planned on having kids, and you didn't know if Davi have ever planned having a kid. You guys started dating about 6 months ago, so this was a shock for you. You stared at your boyfriend while he was talking with Todoroki at the bar. You could feel your heart beating faster. You were so worried that he would leave you if you told him. Toga came closer to you and gave you a hug that you found extremely weird because she's usually more the kind to stab you. She dragged you into her room and said, "UN, how are you gonna tell Javi that you're pregnant? I can't wait to see him or her. It's gonna be so cute. Like, imagine having a baby. Imagine if she gets Javi's quirk. She will burn the whole place down." Toga was too excited for this gift. While you didn't know if you were gonna throw up from the pregnancy or from the nerves you were feeling. You sighed and looked at the crazy girl. Toga, I don't know. I don't know how Dabi would react. What if he doesn't want kids? Toga took your hand and said, Yuan, Dabi loves you. He will surely want a kid with you, and if he doesn't, I'll stab him to death. There was her crazy mind again, but you had to appreciate she was your only friend, even though you didn't like to admit that. You went out and pulled Dabi out of the bar. He said, Yuan, what the fuck? What are you doing? You dragged him into your room and said, Dabi, you know I love you, right? He nodded. Well, what I'm about to tell you is something important that will change your lives, so be prepared. I'm pregnant. His eyes widened, but he didn't used to feel shocked, confused, or happy. He thought you were the love of his life since the first time he saw you, but he wasn't sure if you wanted a kid. He nodded and then proceeded to take out something of his cabinet. He took out a ring. His eyes widened and said, Wait, we can't get married. It's too soon. We only have been dating for 6 months. He came closer to you and said, You're an idiot. This is not an engagement ring. This is a promise ring. I was planning to give it to you someday. So whether now, I love you and I will love our kid. Don't worry about the whole lake situation because I know you've been worrying about that. You always worry about dumb stuff. We can get an apartment and take care of the kid together and work at the night at the lake, so don't worry. I promise someday we'll have our family in order, okay? You pulled him into a kiss. You said, Okay, I love you. I love you too, Yuan. It had been 2 years since then. You and Dabi lived in your own apartment with your beautiful child. He actually got Dabi's quirk, and as Toga said, the first thing he did was burn Shigaraki stuff. Dabi couldn't stop laughing after it, but Shigaraki almost killed you both. You and your husband, Todoroki, have been married for 5 years. At the beginning, it had been arranged by your families as a quick arranged marriage. But when time went by and you guys knew each other better, you actually fell in love with him and he fell in love with you. He was the first to tell you. Which surprised you since he was usually cold towards people. It had been 3 years since then, and your 5-year anniversary was coming up. You had some important news to tell your husband that you found out earlier this morning. You were pregnant, and you couldn't be more excited because of this news. Sure, and you have been trying to have a kid since a long time, but finally your time came and you were going to be a mother. You couldn't wait till your husband came back from his agency. When Shoro came home, you guys got ready and decided to go to a restaurant to celebrate your anniversary. It was a very fancy restaurant. It was actually Shoro's favorite. When it was time for his dessert, you pulled out the pregnancy test and said, Shoro, happy anniversary. He couldn't help but cheer up. He was starting to cry, and you look at him, Shoro, are you okay? He looked up at his beautiful wife and said, Yuan, I couldn't be more happy. Thank you for this. I promise I will be the best father ever to this kid. I love you. It had been 5 years since then, and you and Shoro were going to celebrate your 10-year anniversary. Before you went, you said to your beautiful daughter, Now, darling, you behave with Uncle Midoriya, okay? Mommy and Daddy will be back soon. We love you. She ran onto Midoriya's arms, and he said, Guys, have fun on your anniversary. The little sunshine will be okay. You guys nodded, and your beautiful daughter said, Bye, Mama. Bye, Papa. Your life couldn't be better. You and your husband, Aizawa, have been married for a long time. You guys met after he got severely injured in a fight, and you started going out with him, and then you guys got married. You both had agreed on not having kids, since Aizawa was a pro hero and you were a doctor. You both weren't home most of the time, and you didn't have kids to experience not having their parents home. But suddenly, Aizawa opened the door and said, "Honey, I want you to meet someone." A little girl ran out from behind him. You bent down and said, "Hi, darling, what's your name?" The little girl said, "My name is Eri." Aizawa looked at you and said, "We're taking Eri to the amusement park." You took the little girl in your arms and said, "Well, off we go." You didn't understand where the little girl had come from, and while she was taking some pictures, you decided to ask your husband, "Hey, honey, where did the little girl come from? She's so sweet." He explained that a group of heroes had rescued her from a villain. He didn't give you the details since you were a civilian. Your eyes widened in shock. She was so young. She deserved a better life. You guys had an amazing day. You guys bought Eri a lot of candy apples and took her in a lot of rides at the amusement park. At the end of the day, you guys were heading home. Eri was walking in front of you and Aizawa, and you said, "Honey, she's so perfect. She's so cute." He looked at you and said, "Yuan, I have been thinking of something." You tilted your head in confusion and asked, "What is it?" "I was wondering if we could adopt Eri. I know you said you didn't want kids, but..." You cut him off with a kiss and said, "I would love to adopt her. She deserves a better life, and I actually think we can provide her to her. I promise to be the best mom for Eri. I promise. I love you." He nodded and said, "I'll promise to be the best father to Eri. Love you too, Yuan." It had been 6 months since then, and you and Aizawa were filing the papers because you guys adopted Eri. When you guys got home, you showed Eri her room and said, "Well, honey, this is your new room. I hope you enjoy." She hugged one of your legs and said, "Thank you, Mama. I love it." You thought that this kid was a miracle.